how did Trump get 74 million votes? You
Yeah.
start with that answer.
Yeah. Well,
That's a big part of it.
look at that chart that I put up earlier. That has a lot to do with it. I want to, again, I have a tendency to digress, but I think it's good and it fits into this conversation. And I don't get to ask very many people this question. But I want to put it in this context for you, Dr. Ferguson. I grew up on a poor farm back in the 60s and 70s. Well, there was a guy that you and I remember because we're old enough named George Wallace that was running for president. Now, here's the interesting thing about him. Everybody thinks of him as a racist and a segregationist and all that type of thing. And, there's reason to remember him that. But for poor farmers like me, now I was 18 years old. My dad said, "Good luck." I mean, your mom broke your dinner plate. We took your bed apart. I mean, that's it, man. I was out on my own. I had friends eating commodity cheese. I mean, we were poor, boy. Well, this George Wallace guy came along, and people were looking at him not for the segregationist part of it or the racist part of it. They were looking at him as a guy that would upset the apple cart. And we didn't have any apples. I mean, you're talking about these apple growers. I mean, we just wanted some. And if we couldn't get some, we just wanted to deny other people because we didn't have any apples, so to speak. That was kind of the allure of the George Wallace candidacy where I was at. And I didn't support the guy. I didn't vote for him. I don't want anybody to think that. But that's not very often talked about. And when I look at Donald Trump and his candidacy, and I look at these people crawling through the windows of the Capitol and look at his attraction in these poor rural areas that we started off talking about, I think that's the apple cart. I mean, do you look at it that way at all?
Policy failure, summarized in a single sentence, I think policy failure persisting over really more than a generation, where, if you like, the net effect of trade and industrial policies pursued by the United States has been to drive a good chunk of the population into pretty desperate circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, the sort of highfalutin term for this is a dual economy, but it's basically where you effectively now have a situation where half or more of the population is sitting there with no pensions, uncertain wages, jobs, gig positions, or just low paid work, and there's no way into the middle class. And yeah, it's a huge look. That's the root of the problem, in my opinion. And my colleagues and I couldn't be blunter about it. Yes, I quite agree with that. It doesn't help when you get, you have two-party competition. So it is said. The Republicans are perfectly clear about what they think. That's what. But the Democrats, when Nancy Pelosi says it's okay to be in the stock market as you're writing laws and that it's okay to speculate.
Yes.
Well, all you can say is that's just an unacceptable position.
Yes.
You can't live with corruption on this scale. And
Yes.
money in politics has now gone crazy.
Absolutely.